Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Glad to see you all here. Please stand in body or spirit as we sing our gathering hymn number 16. "'Tis a gift to be simple." Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Hillsborough. We are a congregation that is open to all who seek spiritual growth and community with others. Whoever you are, member, friend, or guest, and whatever brought you here this morning, we are happy that you have come here today. As you may know already, masks are required today because of medium COVID risk. Here at UUCH, we don't require that we all agree on a common set of religious beliefs. Instead, we strive to love, support, and encourage each other in our continuing individual quests for personal growth and understanding in matters of the heart and spirit. We aspire always to be an inclusive circle where all are welcome. My name is Lou Godell. I am your worship coordinator today. I would like to thank everyone who has made today's service possible. Their time and effort are truly a gift of their love. I want to thank Aviva Enoch, our music director and leader of our worship team. I also want to thank Amy Dark for creating the order of service and A.C. Tharrington for handing it out, and Steve Mahaley and Alex Mburo for managing our communications, and Patty O'Connor for being our listening ear today. I also want to thank Pal for always taking care of the good chalice lighting. And we are also grateful today to have Belinda Staten as our speaker. Before we create our sacred space, let us take a moment to share announcements for the good of the community. If you have an announcement for the congregation, please come to the side microphone, identify yourself, and speak directly into the microphone. We invite you to have refreshments with us after the service, and for our mutual safety, to spread out inside or outside the building.
The Songbirds, which is our singing group, is going to be meeting in here this evening from 7 to 8:30. Everyone's welcome. So hope to see you tonight.
Hi, for the MenCo members, we have a meeting at 1:30 p.m. online. Zoom link is coming to your inbox.
morning. I'm Patty O'Connor, and as Lou said, I'm the listening ear for today. So if you have anything you need to get off your chest, or you have a funny story to share, I'm happy to be an ear to listen. It doesn't have to be a deep, dark secret, by the way. This is our coffee hour volunteer assignment sheet, and we're covered through next Sunday. So we have coffee and snacks through next Sunday. If we're going to have the Sunday after that, we need some names on the sheet. Okay? If you can't stay and fix the coffee, maybe you could bring a snack. We might add that to the sign-in sheet for people who can't prepare the setup. But anyway, it's on the table in the back.
If there are no more announcements, let's prepare for worship and create our sacred space by silencing our cell phones and drawing 3 meditative breaths. Let's hold in our hearts that we are a community of liberal and open-minded people who seek to connect lovingly and respectfully with others here and in our daily lives. These words are from Reverend T.L.S. Whitfield. We recognize the fragility of life. With the kindling of our flame, we recognize the fragility of life and our own vulnerability as we navigate challenges that always seem to come. May this light remind us of the strength we possess as individuals and collectively as a community to lean into and respond, finding our way forward together.
Our opening words are from Brene Brown. I changed that at the last moment. What most of us fail to understand, and took me a decade of research to learn, is that vulnerability is the cradle of emotions and experiences that we crave. Vulnerability is the birthplace of love, belonging, joy, courage, and creativity. It is the source of hope, empathy, accountability, and authenticity.
Please stand in body or spirit as we sing our opening hymn, Open My Heart, number 1013, and the Teal hymnal.
We'll sing it through a few times in unison, and then we're going to split into 2 parts.
Open my heart to all
Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a sharing community where our joys are celebrated, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. Each Sunday, we take some time to reflect on the special happenings that have occurred this week among our members and friends. Some choose to share aloud, while others choose to remain silent. Here we make room for both. For those of you who'd like to share aloud, please take a moment before we begin to center yourself and collect your thoughts so that what you share this morning is personal, heartfelt, and brief. Please come forward, tell us your name, and share what is in your heart. When you are finished, you may release a stone into the vase on the altar. For those of you who'd like to, For those of you who prefer to silently acknowledge what is currently in your hearts, I invite you to come to the altar and release a stone into the vase in silence while Aviva plays "There is a Love That Is Holding Me." After everyone is seated, you are all invited to join in singing one verse of the hymn. The words are printed in your order of service. It's time to sing the children to class. The children's blessing is inside the back cover of the gray hymnal. To say a couple of words about Belinda Staten. She joined the congregation about 20 years ago and has certainly been very important to our congregation. Among other things, she is a former moderator.
Good morning. Good morning. This month's topic is vulnerabilities. And right now, who in the room do you think feels most vulnerable? Some of you may remember that 5 or 6 years ago, during joys and sorrows, I came out to the congregation that I am transgender. That was, has been, and still is my most vulnerable of vulnerabilities. Excuse me. However, I no longer feel the guilt and shame for who I am or what I am. I still can be embarrassed from time, and guilt and shame no longer. I experienced what I described as, so this is what breathing fresh air and feeling the sunlight is like. That in part is due to you and UUs in general, because I knew you were open and accepting people. To date, I have never heard one negative word, no comment or slur. No one has thrown rocks at me or painted hateful words on my car. You lived up to my expectations. I'm surrounded by people who want to live up to our covenants on how we relate to one another. That's why I love coming here, to be surrounded by people of similar morals and ethics, and because you have chosen to do that. When I came out to my family, I lost my wife of 31 years because I really didn't understand all about what was going on in my life and didn't have the right vocabulary to explain it. I just knew I no longer could continue as I was. I felt as I would explode before just the denial was getting so great. As it turned out, I made a complete hash of it. I lost her trust. She had to get out. My daughter is withdrawn from me. My son went into a deep depression and turned to drink and drugs to kill the pain. However, he went through rehab and Alcoholics Anonymous. In fact, he showed me his 14-year coin the last time he was down here. And he made an effort to understand me and people like me. We now have a closer, more loving relationship than ever before. When he was a kid, I was wondering, excuse me, when he was a kid, I wondered if he'd ever get out of high school. But he's just now finishing up 2 master's degrees on spiritual growth simultaneously. Who'd have thought? And let me take a little side trip here. Several years ago, I started reading books by Brene Brown. And they're about fear, guilt, and shame. This good stuff. And if you haven't read any of her stuff, it'd be worthwhile picking up and reading some. I carried guilt and shame about myself all my life. Brene Brown gave me a shot of reality about guilt and shame. Guilt is when you did something wrong, such as gossip or steal money. Shame is when you do something that violates your own personal morals and ethics. And that was a bingo for me because I had never done anything to become a transgender, therefore no guilt. I never violated my ethics to become a transgender. No shame. Now, that didn't happen just that quick. I had to chew on it a while to make it mine, and then I believed it. But the truth is, but that and the truth of UU principles we try to live up to make my life so much more joyful than it was before. I used to believe I was an abomination before God. It's in the Bible. Try dragging that around a few decades. But guess what? Now it's fresh air and sunshine. Vulnerability is a sneaky kind of fear. The kind of fear that sucks the bravery and resolve out of the marrow of your bones. It shows you only the worst possible scenarios if you want to change. There is no light except to show you the dangers and how foolish you are to even think you could change and live through such a disaster. But what if the disaster is a lie? What if the possibilities of freedom, the promises of joy of living are worth taking the risk? I won't lie to you. The result could be a mixture of blessings and pain. It has been for me. However, I would never go back. What I have accomplished, I'm experiencing now, affirms the fact that I will never have to live that life again. Do you have a situation in your life where you have been carrying a heavy load of guilt and shame? Is there a fear that seals you off from friends and those you love? Check to see if you're actually responsible for that heavy load. It could be you're simply reacting to something someone else decreed. Or is it an arbitrary cultural rule that's holding you? Did your parents beat do's and don'ts into your head? Do they not work for you now, but you feel guilty when you go against their teaching? Excuse me. The spring has sprung. I've always had a fear of heights, but have no fear of flying with large or small aircraft. I know there are safety checks before each flight, inspected thoroughly over so many flight hours. I'm also confident that the pilot doesn't want to die before I do. Having said that, I'm a klutz. In a restaurant, when I'm getting up from the table, it's shoes, chairs, and table legs, and there are people in this room that can testify that. Thank you very much. I'll take one. Appreciate it. As a boy, I couldn't walk far on a railroad rail because I'd fall off just a couple of feet. Same was true crossing a stream, jumping stone to stone. I just had very poor balance. Just seeing a person standing on the precipice or on the edge of a tall building makes my stomach very queasy. Now, I just told you I like flying. I thought it'd be a good way to overcome my fear of heights would be to learn how to hang glide. Now, the takeoff sequence is rather straightforward. Check to see if the wind's right. Then you need to do 3 things simultaneously. You need to position the wings over your shoulders, pick a target in the distance, then run toward the target until your feet have left the ground. That's simple, right? On one of my first takeoff attempts, I dipped my left wing so it drug the ground as I was running. And the result was it turned me around 180 degrees and tore the right head of the tendon off, the long head of the tendon off this arm. Clutch. A real clutch. Okay, lessons learned. I'm not afraid of heights. I'm vulnerable to heights. When as a klutz, I could trip and go over the edge. Actually, I'm vulnerable to klutziness. But how about you? What are your vulnerabilities? What can you do about those that keep you from experiencing the joy of living and those that keep you isolated from those you love because you fear hurt, embarrassment, physical harm? What are you going to do about them? I found late in life that the only way I'm overcoming vulnerability, is to acknowledge it and decide what steps I'm going to take. There will be consequences. When you choose to have victory over your vulnerability, there will be consequences. Some of those consequences will be positive, leading to freedom and joy that you've never experienced before. Dwell on those possibilities. Remember, you're not responsible for how others are going to respond. Remember, this is your life we're talking about. It is not selfishness to take care of your own well-being. Have you always honored other people's priorities over yours? Why? Knowing what I was, I knew that others who knew better had more to say about the direction of my life than I did. The will of my parents, teachers, church leaders, and my wife came before my will because I didn't think I was worthy to exert my will. Only since I realized this is my life and took more control of it have I had a real life. Along with the joy of living, there have been mistakes, heartaches, and tears, but above all, there's been freedom and the ability to breathe deeply. Yes, there will be consequences when you face your demons. Consider what I said about my family. But I had 20 happy years with my second wife. On our second date, I told her about Belinda, my trans self, and her reply was, "So?" First time I dressed as Belinda to introduce her, Nancy said, "I wouldn't wear that to a dog fight." Those who knew Nancy knew she was quite direct, but she chose to share my burden. You will find someone to share your burden. They may never understand all you're going through, but they are with you. And sometimes that's all you need. It seems there are some universal vulnerabilities. Let me share just two with you. This one is true about men as well as women, but many women feel very vulnerable to being talked about. They fear that if they share confidence, it will become known by more than just the one they shared it with. They fear about being talked about, being laughed at, having it thrown in their face, and having it used against them. For men, it's to be seen as weak, ineffectual, effeminate, or henpecked. Vulnerability and unconditional love must go together. As Mark Nepo said, unconditional love is not so much about how we receive each other as it is about the deep vow to never, under any condition, stop bringing the flawed truth of who we are to each other. When you decide to make a change, looking for help is the first step toward victory. You have to put your vulnerabilities into words to be able to describe the raw head and bloody bones that has haunted you for so long. Look for someone you can trust to talk to. It could be your best friend, a church member you recognize as trustworthy, a professional therapist. We're fortunate to have several people in our congregation who are listening ears. They make themselves available to be compassionate and non-judgmental listeners. They offer that first step to facing your vulnerabilities. I believe Patty O'Connor is today's listening ear. Patty, where are you? Lay at you. And any other listening ears that are here, would you take a wave? Thank you very much. We are serious here about sharing your burden and lightening your load. May it be so, and blessed be.
All I can say is, wow, there's so much that you offered to us that we can use. It's really, that was wonderful. Each week, we take a monetary offering to support our social justice work in the community. This support comes in the form of donations. The community partner we are sharing the collection with this month is, I believe, Northern Orange NAACP.
OCIM.
What?
OCIM.
OCIM. I was worried that I had that wrong. Thank you. You may donate by going online to our website or using the Vanco app on your phone. You can also place cash or a check in the basket. If you write a check, please be so kind as to write the word plate in the memo line. Your generosity is much appreciated.
We're all bound by certain forces, same as anyone. Step out of the shadows, my little one. There's a change that's surely coming, a will that will be done. Step out of the shadows, my little one. Will you step out of the shadows, my little one? Silent river, roll on, where the Silent river, deep and long, take your time, you're gonna make it. Well, the flame's been handed on now to a new wave rising strong. Step out of the shadows, my little one. There's a balance to be righted, the scale's been tipped too long. Step out of the shadows, my little one. Will you step out of the shadows, my little one? Silent river, roll on. Whatever comes, you can take it. Silent river, overcome. Closer to the sea now, you can make it. There's a lesson in this failing. The road goes on and on. Step out of the shadows, my little one. It's out all there for you waiting, if you're willing to become. Step out of the shadows, my little one. Will you step out of the shadows, my little one?
So, please join me in a prayer of collective gratitude found in your order of service. For the love that surrounds us every morning, for the friends beside us, and for the generous gifts just received, let us be truly grateful. And we have our closing hymn, How Could Anyone? Number 1053 in the teal hymnal.
Closing words are also from Brene Brown. Excuse me. As children, we found ways of protecting ourselves from vulnerability, from being hurt, diminished, and disappointed. We'd put on armor through our thoughts, our emotions, and behaviors as weapons. We learned to make ourselves scarce, even to disappear. Now, as adults, we realize that to live with courage, purpose, and connection, to be the person we long to be, we must again be vulnerable. We must take off the armor, put down the weapon, show up, and let ourselves be seen.
Together, we extinguish this flame are not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace, my friends, and blessed be.